The Webby O'Neill channel, and the message from Sir Jim Ratcliffe to Erik ten Hag is no top four, no problem. We're also going to take a look at David Brailsford's marginal gains and also some transfer news from David Ornstein about Aaron Wan Bissaka in a potential swap deal with Denzel Dumfries from Inter Milan. Get involved in the chat, everyone, and we will try and discuss some of your comments throughout today's video. Now, I'm going to get stuck straight into this. The article yesterday from The Guardian was stating that Erik ten Hag is not under pressure to guide Manchester United to a top four finish next season, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe prioritising considerable progress of the team. Your first thoughts on this?
Well, I think it's quite clear. If you look over the last 10 years and the mismanagement, it's going to take a lot of hard work to rectify that. And I think what you've got here is a recognition that there's no guarantee of getting a top four. I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe, everyone in the club is quite clear that the hard work is starting. We can see improvements, but on the pitch, Erik ten Hag's remit is to improve on that pitch. That's what he wants. That's the idea, and that's the way to get success. And that will take time. Come of a shock to a lot of people to hear them words when top four isn't what we want. Well, it is what we want, but it's not guaranteed. It's not a deal breaker for Erik ten Hag. So at the end of the day, what he's saying is, enjoy the ride, but we want a performance on that pitch for all our fans and for the club. That is the foundation for success going forward.
It's a tricky road, though. You're talking about we want, a performance on the pitch to be entertained. You're sort of like falling into the category of what Spurs fans want with Tottenham Hotspur. For me, the style of play must improve. That's just a basic for me for next season. He's had long enough here, Erik ten Hag. There's a lot of players here that he knows who can do it, the ones who can't. But we need to see progress on that next season for a minimum for me.
I think as a club, we're starting up there, whereas Tottenham are always down there, and we've just dropped year after year on the pitch. It's not been good enough, and that's what Sir Jim Ratcliffe, Ineos have come in for, to change it. They've put the right people in place for success as they see it. Let's hope it is success and they are the right people. But Erik ten Hag knows what he's got to do. He knows what he does. This club cannot start badly. Okay, cannot start badly, as the media and the fans will just pile on. So he's under pressure, Erik ten Hag. He's not got a free ride here, okay? He has to change it. He has to change the football where we're entertained, okay? Won't go right all the time, and I think everyone understands that at the club, okay? This team's way above us, and it's going to take a long time to get there. And what they're doing is, Ineos, they're putting a strategy in, bringing young players in. And them young players, what they're bringing in, are there for the future. They're there for now to build on the success on the pitch.
Do you not think, though, the lack of, the lack of immediate pressure, then might lead to complacency, though, for the short-term goals? Because as fans, we all want to be in that Champions League, surely. If this is true, based on the report in The Guardian.
Lack of pressure, no. Erik ten Hag is under massive pressure, and quite rightly so.
That's surely then from the fans.
No.
The pressure and the demands of wanting to reach the Champions League. But like I say, if this report is true, there's not a pressure from inside the club to reach the Champions League. And surely that then filters around the club to the players, staff, etc.
I think from the fans, the goal is getting the Champions League. That's what we all want. We want to win the league. We want to win the Champions League. And that's always pressure. Every year that's going to come from the fans. But I see Erik ten Hag not being under the pressure, okay, as much to get to the top four. The pressure comes from producing football and producing a vision on the field, a style of play. You look at the people what have come in now, the pressure will build on Erik ten Hag. It will massively increase. The more he moves players out and the more he brings players in, I think there'll be a frenzy of transfer business at the beginning of August. That will put pressure on Erik ten Hag to get it right and to get a system. And everything has been put in place for him, the right people. It has been mismanaged, the club, for years and years. And now we're seeing the fruits of what Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe are changing around. And Erik ten Hag, I think the pressure is more on him, not less, because of this statement, because he has to produce a football team and a vision going forward for the fans and the club. We're at the bottom, finishing 8th. Yes, we won the FA Cup, but it was poor last year, and that can't happen again. So I think the pressure is more on Erik ten Hag, not less. And people might look at it and say, "Oh, top four, we're not getting it. We don't have to worry. We don't have to worry about that."
You've also got to look at it as well with the Champions League. How far realistically, if we did qualify for the Champions League next season, would we get in the competition the season after? Because I don't think we've got past the quarter-final stage since we actually got to the final at Wembley against Barcelona.
No,
we've had a 2010-11 season.
Yeah.
Been a few years, a few sleeps since then.
Well, imagine facing the Champions League this year, right? With what we've seen. Right, we'd be like that, hands in our faces, hands on our heads, just going, "Oh no, it's going to be an embarrassment." It was an embarrassment next year. You can't just like think you've got the God-given right to go in a competition, right? Because you're Manchester United. No. You have to have a team, and you have to build on that. So at the end of the day, right, I think the pressure is massive for him. I can't see Champions League. What I can see is like have to do better than what we did last year, right? And the style on the pitch and the football, that's what the achievement has to be. And that is the priority for Erik ten Hag. But it's a big ask.
The thing is, though, like playing devil's advocate here, and some fans out there might say this, that, you know, Unai Emery at Aston Villa, Postecoglou at Tottenham, they come in and near enough immediately, they found a style of play. So Erik ten Hag surely has to get that right at the start of the season so the fans can see it themselves.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. He has to get it right. You mentioned them two managers, the way they played football. They improved. They looked good on the eye throughout the season. Yes, they had a few dips, but at the end of the day, the football, the style kept to it. And that's what I'm saying to you. He has to do it. And if he doesn't have a style, what is entertaining, what is productive, then the fans will demand action. And I'm certainly sure that Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos will not accept a bad start to the season, right, where they just trundle on a game here, then a bad game, a game here and a bad game. They won't accept that. They need consistency. You don't have to win. He doesn't have to win every game, but we need to see football. And using them two managers, them two clubs, is the ideal to show that progression is needed. They did it. We need to do it.
Without the pressure then of reaching the Champions League, finishing in them places come this season, does it also then have no pressure on Erik ten Hag where he can focus on the player development, bringing some of these youth players through where there might not be that added pressure, you know, to keep performing every single week?
I think Erik ten Hag's under pressure to develop these players, but I think there's people around him now, right, to help. There's more people inside there, and I'm sure there's going to be more people in there to develop these youngsters. Erik ten Hag has to just deal with that squad, okay, and get them playing football. I think the youngsters, the development and all that, I think that's being taken over by the football inside, the new management and everything. I think there's a lot of pressure inside the club taken off Erik ten Hag. But the pressure, when we talk about pressure, you say there's no pressure on top four. Listen, there's pressure on top four. Don't be fooled by it. We're going to go for that. We're not just aiming through the season, right, and not getting beat, just keeping to a draw and the occasional wins. That's it. We're going for that top four. But what Sir Jim Ratcliffe and all that saying, that is not the aim. We're building something inside, and what we have to do is get it right and build slowly, one season after another, and hopefully within 3 years we get there where we're able to challenge properly and have a settled side, a settled squad, a settled club. And as I go back to it, we've had 10 years of mismanagement, okay, and within 6 or 7 months we've seen more sensible decisions being made than we have in 10 years. So time will tell how it goes, but and I go back to what I've always said, we need patience here, and I think they're having it. But if we don't, this is the pressure. And I go back to it. There's more pressure on Erik ten Hag. He has to get it right and show that he knows what he's doing and that he has a system and that he can get these players playing football, regardless of who he has on the pitch.
Do you think the absence of, you know, the top four expectations might have a result then on player recruitment and players then wanting to come to Manchester United if they miss out on the Champions League again next year?
No, I don't think so, because if you look at the strategy, what Sir Jim Ratcliffe, he's going for the younger players, Okay, he's going to get players 25 and under, get them, develop them, make them better players. He's got the infrastructure. He's going to carry on building on the infrastructure to make younger players better. He's not got the money. He said it, to go out and buy an instant replacement, and that's fine. I understand that. I think a lot of people out there understand that, and we have to be patient. We have to sort of say, get behind the team, get behind Erik, get behind everybody there. There's a vision, okay? There's a strategy.
Sorry to interrupt. Is that the key here that we're actually hearing from the likes of Sir Jim Ratcliffe and others around the club, where we've been starved of that under just the Glazers at Manchester United, and actually communicating a plan and a long-term vision as well? Would that settle a lot of fans' expectations and nerves of what's to come here at Manchester United? Even if there is a bit of a dip maybe and we don't get that Champions League next season, let me know what you think on the top four and coming outside it if we did finish outside them places.
There's clearly a plan. It's putting people in place to work on that plan, to get and improve on it. Erik ten Hag has to improve on it. The fans, some fans out there are like, oh, we want this, we want more. It's the expectations, and fans' expectations don't normally match what the owner or the people in charge are actually doing. They see and they know more than what the fans do. So at the end of the day, expectations are always high at the start of the season. Look, it just boils down to this. It's as simple as, right, with Erik ten Hag, okay, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. If Erik ten Hag does not improve, okay, we will see that. The media will see that, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe. So if he doesn't improve, we all know what's going to happen, okay? Everything's there for Erik ten Hag. The people are in place, and if we see no sign of improvement, it's simple. Don't even discuss top four. If we don't see improvement, that's the first thing we have to see. First game, Fulham, Friday night.
Yeah, I'm just going to refresh everyone's memory out there as well of a recent interview Sir Jim Ratcliffe done with Bloomberg, and the expectations and what he's currently found himself in and what he's seen at Manchester United. So just have a quick listen and a watch for us.
And we will improve everything, because we want to be, at the top of that. We want to be competing for the Premiership every year and competing for the Champions League every year. That's where we need to be. We need to be where Real Madrid is today, but we're not there at the moment, and it will take time. You can't. It's not a light switch. You can't, flick a switch. And we're more grassroots than just one player isn't to solve the problem at Manchester United, really. I think the first thing you need to do is, you need to build a balanced squad, and we need to make progress with the squad. And ultimately, maybe you top it off with a player or one or two players like Mbappe, but it's not the solution today.
How much would you want for the next season? How much are you ready to spend?
You're sort of always trying to estimate what your income will be to decide what you can spend on players, because you have to make assumptions. Are you going to be in the Champions League? Are you going to be in the Europa Cup, etc.? Because that affects your income and your ability to be able to hit your FFP target. So it's a complicated set of rules.
As you could hear there at the end of the video, Sir Jim Ratcliffe did say the transfer money that you spend in the window is based on the assumptions of where you'll finish next season. So is the assumptions around the club then that it will be outside them Champions League places? And do you expect any more signings to come in at United?
I think the assumption is he's not expecting Champions League. What he is expecting is to finish in the Europa League minimum. Concerning transfer fees, we know what's going on with the transfer fees now. The money's not there, so don't expect big money signings. You can see what's happening. Players are being bought now, and we're paying it on the drip year on year. So don't expect all the money to come in. He's clearly saying we're starting from a low position, okay, where the money's concerned. He's come in, he's looked at the business, he knows the debt, he knows how much money's coming in, and this is where I'm starting from. So the assumption is I'm not going big next year. I don't expect anything different from what comes in money-wise and everything into this club. I don't expect big changes, but what he does do, he expects improvement on the pitch.
Yeah, he did mention grassroots as well, and actually building a balanced squad. And then over time, you can then pick out one or two, like maybe world-class players to add to the squad. So do you see that as well, an emphasis on youth development and bringing them through? Because we've seen quite a few of the youngsters over the last 12 months signing new and improved deals.
Yeah, I think what you see from Sir Jim Ratcliffe on both sides, really, from a financial and from the player side, is building the youth, bringing them through and getting something solid there. And I think in the infrastructure as well, that's his plan. Slowly but surely, build something, start something, and keep rising, keep improving. And with the youngsters, he sees that as the long term. And he also sees from a business point of view about the stadium and everything else like that is the long term. He knows it won't be done now. So the expectations, what he had when he came in, what he has for the future is exactly how I see it, really. That it's the future, and we have to be patient. Unfortunately, as football fans, we know what we're like, right? We want it now. But he's clearly got a plan, not just from the footballing side, from a business side as well, and that includes the stadium as well. But it's the assumption of...
Sorry to interrupt. He must also believe in his plan as well, because if you go back to February with that interview with the announced media team at United, he said in 3 years' time he wants Manchester United to be challenging again. So he must firmly believe in the vision and the plan that they've got.
Yes, he firmly believes in that. He firmly believes he's got the right structure, the right people in place to help Erik ten Hag. If Erik ten Hag succeeds this year and he does well, obviously he'll just carry on, and the 3 year is the target. He's got the right people in, and that's what is success. That's the thing. He challenging. I've always said in 3 years' time, if we're challenging for that Champions League, okay, we're in the Champions League, we should be challenging for the top spot as well, first, second. Okay, that's what he sees, and I believe that is the way to go. Not just getting in the Champions League, challenging the top, challenging in the FA Cup, challenging the other cups. It's challenging and being there and putting yourself in that position.
But as a fan, though, like in your heart, not your head.
Yeah.
Does that feel unrealistic for you in 3 years' time? You know, you look at maybe the gap people will say between us, Man City, Arsenal. You know, is that too wide to be then competing in 3 years' time in the Premier League at the top and competing in the Champions League?
No, I don't think so. I think it's realistic to be challenging in that Champions League, get in there, get out of the group stage. Once we're in the Champions League, you're progressing and all that. No, I just see it as realistically in 3 years' time from where we are now. We're not buying superstars. He's saying that the money's not there. He doesn't expect the money to be flowing in from the league position anyway. Champions League, the Champions League is the money. We're in the Europa League. If we get in the Europa League next year, that's fine. I don't see why we shouldn't expect to get in it. I don't see what the problem is getting in it from a financial point of view. Jim Ratcliffe is doing all his bookkeeping and his finances, and he knows what he's got to spend. And unfortunately,
I think the focus is, like you said earlier on, about building a stable team and a balanced team. And I think that's what that might be next season, to be honest with you. And a lot of what the recruitment will be with getting players in and shifting players out.
I think
you've got to remember as well, this is his first summer transfer window.
Yeah,
Put it into perspective.
Yeah, I think you used the right word there, stable. We've not had stable. Not since David Gill and Sir Alex Ferguson went. We have just not had stable in this club at all in any department. And I've always said about all the departments inside United, they've been here for the last 10 years and more, just looking after themselves. And now he's bringing everybody in, all working together for one cause, and that's for the benefit of Erik ten Hag and getting this team right.
Yeah, just going to go on to David Brailsford. Already implementing his marginal gains, and Manchester United incorporating Ineos director Sir David Brailsford methods in pre-season preparations. United's touring players in Los Angeles have been provided with a plan that includes designated sleep and meal windows with bespoke meals designed by performance chef Omar Mezian and the club's nutrition team. Hey.
Designated chef and everything, design meals.
He loves his marginal gains, though.
Oxygen blankets or whatever they're using. They're bringing in some new things here. And who's to say it's not going to help? And at the end of the day, these things being talked about there, what you've just read out, right? It's just the start of changing what goes on in the background. I mean, you have to remember, okay, Carrington, absolute disgrace, according to many people, and certainly Ronaldo. Ronaldo slammed it. No investment, no nothing. Well, the investment's coming in new technology, in new methods and everything. And Sir David Brailsford, who's the Ineos sporting director, he is bringing new innovations into the club. And I'm sure there's many other people. I think there'll be many other innovations being brought in by the medical side and all that. Will they work? Only time will tell. Right, but at the end of the day, there is a change in every department, and this is a welcome change. It might sound a little bit far-fetched what they're using and what they're doing, and bit mystic, but at the end of the day, it's things what have obviously worked elsewhere in other places under Sir David Brailsford.
You've got to try new things, though, innovation, you know, bring fresh ideas in, just like we've done changes in the backroom staff, like with Nistelrooy, Hacker coming in, replacing Van der Gag. So fresh ideas, and that's what's probably needed at this club to get it back on track and revive the whole club.
Well,
it's just gone absolutely stale for the last 10 years.
Well, new ideas, bring fresh people in and all that. This club needed a big kick up the backside, okay? And it's getting it, and it's only the start. And that's what you have to remember out there as a Man United fan, or as any fan of any football club. Once someone comes in, changes have to be made, right? And some changes, right, they're hard to take. And certainly the changes what are going on from a financial point of view, lots of people losing their jobs and all that, but it is necessary to change to get success. And at the end of the day, I like what I'm hearing, and I know there's going to be more.
Yeah, just going to go on to some transfer news from David Ornstein, and it looks like Wan Bissaka doesn't fancy the move to West Ham, with them looking at the Bayern Munich right back, but he is interested in making a move to Inter Milan, with talks with an intermediary on Denzel Dumfries' part about a possible swap deal.
Yeah, this has come right out of the blue. This is like a left foot shoe, this. It's like, where did this one come from? Milan. I never expected Wan Bissaka to be associated with West Ham. I've looked at Wan Bissaka, and I do believe it's him what wants the move. And I always thought he was looking to go to back to London, one of the clubs there, maybe back to Crystal Palace. West Ham have always been mentioned in that, and I think West Ham would be a good fit for him. But for him to talk, because it's him what's talking, it's him what's looking to go to Milan. It's been offered intermediates and things like that. Will it be a good move for him? Yes, it will be a good move for him.
Fair play to him, though. If he's not, obviously, I don't think anyone really, apart from maybe 2 or 3 players who are guaranteed a first-team place, if you're not guaranteed a spot, go and play football somewhere else instead of just sitting on the bench, collecting your wages week in, week out, because I'm sure there'll be 2 or 3 in this current squad who we all want moving on. He'll just sit there next season on the bench.
I think with Wan Bissaka, with his limitations going forward and crossing the ball and that, I think that's going to affect the tactics, the style, what Manchester United are going to play. So I think he sees that he's not going to get as much game time. And, you know, you have to also look his favourite position, which is right back. Delow's there. Delow has improved there virtually every game and that. So he might see his path, and he might have already known for a long time that his path is going to be reduced. So looking elsewhere, fair play to him. If it's Milan, good luck to the kid. But it's a move I never expected to see him. I thought he was more of a homely boy. He doesn't seem to me as though he's always running round Old Trafford with a big smile on his face and that. Yeah. It's as though like, I'm here, I'm playing my football, thank you, good night, I'm going home. That's how it's always seemed to me. I'm a professional, I do my job. And it always seemed as though he was missing something, and that could have been home, but clearly not. He's going to go to Milan. That's what Ornstein's saying, and he's been pretty reliable when it comes to transfers lately. So good luck to him.
Let us know what you think about that possible swap deal between Wan Bissaka and Dumfries. Would that be a good move and a good transfer for Manchester United? Because, you know, if we do lose Wan Bissaka, a lot of the talk out there about a fee would be in the region of £17 million that United want. But for me, I think it costs you a lot more to go out and then replace him. And then you're talking about finances. You know, is that better suited to go elsewhere in the team? So for me, a swap deal with Dumfries, I'd probably take that, to be honest with you, if Wan Bissaka himself wants to move.
Yeah, if that deal can get done, which is it's tricky to be honest with you, but if that deal can get done, that's fine. But to get rid of Wan Bissaka, it's going to cost a lot more to replace him. And I'm not too sure. I've not seen much of Dumfries, so I can't really comment on how good he is or what my opinion really is of him. I've only seen little bits over a period of time. So is he good enough? That's the thing. Anyone out there seen it, then please get it in the comments. But I have not seen Dumfries.
Yeah, he likes to get forward. I know that. Watched him as well in the Euros. Watched him a few times, to be fair. And he's more of a wing back than he is just one of them old school right backs kind of thing, which you've got to be in modern day football. And I think he'd still then give a challenge to Dillo, which is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because if a player gets too settled, thinking, well, I'm starting week in, week out, no matter what my performance is like, you know, results and, well, the performances from an individual player do dip. But I think he'd be able to give him a good test, Dumfries, and possibly more or less get that right back spot as well.
Well, you've just
Still got a lot of learning.
You just woke me up there with the wing back, so that might be the key to the position really. And Wan Bissaka doesn't play as a wing back like it should be done. So if Dumfries can do the job, that's the style. That's what the tactics should be. More and more coaches want that. Then I've no objections to it from that position, bringing in a wing back in.
Yeah. Obviously, money is a big focus at Manchester United, so it would depend on contracts as well. What the length of contract he'd want Dumfries, and whether Manchester United be willing to give him anything over, like, let's say, a 3-year contract as well. But yeah, I just thought I'd go through some of the latest Manchester United news with you. Thanks for getting involved in the chat as well.
Yes.
Some great opinions in there, all different types of opinions, which is most important.
Thank you.
If you've liked the video, you want to support us, please smash a like on the video, and we'll be back tomorrow with another Manchester United chat. So get that notification on, Reds, and we'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.